Are you frustrated by a stabbing pain in your heels when you first get out of bed in the morning, or burning foot pain while standing or walking? Then you may be suffering from a painful foot condition called plantar fasciitis. In this video, I'm going to show you effective foot stretches to relieve your plantar fasciitis foot pain. Hey beautiful humans, I'm Sukie Baxter, founder of Whole Body Revolution, where I help you to rewire yourself for greater health, happiness, and success. If you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button so you never miss a video update, and all the links to everything I mentioned in this video you can find linked in the description box below. Okay, so let's get into it. Plantar fasciitis causes a stabbing pain in the foot that's not only uncomfortable, it's difficult to get rid of. Many of my clients who've been diagnosed with plantar fasciitis find that the symptoms are persistent, even with conventional treatments like boots that stretch your feet while you sleep or orthotics. Even worse, because you can't really avoid standing and walking at least a little bit every day, it's almost impossible to rest your feet and let them really heal. And of course, if your feet are on fire, it makes exercise and going to the gym tough. So often my clients find that their overall fitness suffers as a result of their plantar fasciitis foot pain as well. So I'm going to give you some stretches and exercises as well as natural, non-surgical treatments for plantar fasciitis. But before we get into all of that, let's quickly go over what are the symptoms of plantar fasciitis. Well, the most common and classic symptom is stabbing pain in the bottom of your foot just in front of your heel. And that's often worse when you first get out of bed in the morning or when standing up after a long time of being off your feet. You may also have burning on the bottoms of your feet after standing or walking for a long period of time, especially on hard surfaces like concrete. But these aren't the only symptoms. Some of my clients also experience pain in other parts of their heels, in the balls of their feet, or even pain that extends up into their Achilles tendon at the back of their foot. Of course, it's important to have your symptoms evaluated by a physician for a proper diagnosis because pain in any of these areas can have multiple causes. But if you've done that and you've been given the bad news that what you've got is indeed plantar fasciitis, then these stretches should help. Here are two simple exercises that anyone can do to help plantar fasciitis foot pain. And make sure you stick around till the end because I'm also going to share with you 3 bonus tips to keep your plantar fasciitis from coming back. The first exercise we're going to do is to stretch your extensor muscles, which are all the ones that run along the top of your foot. Now, you might be wondering why we're stretching the top of your foot when it's the bottom that hurts, and I'll explain that in detail after I show you these exercises, so stay tuned for that. Go ahead and come to a standing position, and what you're going to do is put the top of your foot on the floor, so the tops of your toes are pressed down into the floor. Now make sure you have something soft under your feet here. You don't want to do this on hardwood or concrete. So a yoga mat is plenty, or you can do this on a soft carpet. Now you're just going to gently press your toes into the floor to get a nice stretch along the top of your foot. And as you're doing this, slowly rock your heel to the outside so that you get more pressure on your pinky toe. And then bring your heel back towards the inside so you're getting a bit more of a stretch on your big toe. We're just going to do a few repetitions. Okay, now to take this up a notch, we're actually going to, keeping the tops of your toes facing down on the floor, make circles around your toes with your heels. So you're just going to take your heel in a circle, almost like you were drawing around your big toe. And this helps to stretch all the muscles along the top of your foot. And then we'll go the other direction. And go ahead and bring your foot back to normal. Now we're going to switch feet and we're going to do the other side. So put the tops of your other foot, the toes of your other foot on the floor, and gently rock your heel to the outside, stretching a bit more on your pinky toe side and towards the inside, and you'll get a bit more of a stretch along your big toe side. Now this shouldn't hurt. The stretch should feel like you are being productive but it should not be agonizing. So if it's very uncomfortable or if your feet start to cramp, you can take a break or stretch a little bit less. All right, let's go ahead and make some circles. Drawing around your big toe, traveling all the way across your feet to the pinky toe side, and then circling back around with your heel. And reverse directions. And come back to normal. Next, go ahead and come down onto the floor onto your hands and knees. And for this, you'll want to use a soft foam roller. If you don't have one available, you can use a rolled towel in place of this. This is a melt roller, and this is what I would recommend, and I will link to this roller specifically in the description box below. You do not want to use a firm roller that doesn't have any give. This one's quite soft and squishy. You're gonna see why in a moment. Place the roller on the floor and come to your hands and knees. Slide back and put the tops of your toes on the roller. And this might be enough stretch for you right here. But if you can, slowly shift your hips back until you feel a little bit more stretch along the tops of your feet. And you may just want to stay here. But if this is comfortable and you're able to, go ahead and bring yourself slowly up until you are sitting fully upright with your hips over your toes. And this will probably feel like a pretty strong stretch. And we're just gonna hang here for about 10 seconds. Making sure that you're breathing. And go ahead and release that. Next, we're gonna do a little bit of self-massage to loosen up the space between your big toe and your second toe. So basically, all you're going to do is gently, in the space between the two bones here, so you've got the bone that connects to your big toe, and then the bone next to it that connects to your second toe. And in between, there will be a soft space, and you're just gently going to massage that. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create some space here between these two toes. So we're just massaging that space. So I tend to use this hand to gently pull the big toe away, while I use this hand to massage the tissue and loosen those muscles. You can also grab the toe from the top, and as you bring this hand here, you can slide the fingers of your right hand up while you're pulling your big toe down to stretch the muscles even more. And this is similar to the extensor stretches that we just did. And you can work up a little higher as well. Just opening that space up. Again, don't cause yourself any pain. This should feel good and beneficial. And we'll do the other side. And gently massaging again the space between the big toe and the second toe. So here's the two toes, and between there's this kind of soft valley of tissue, and that's all we're massaging. So if it's easier, you can put your foot flat on the floor and kind of massage away from you, or pull the tissue towards you, whichever is easier. I prefer to have my foot to the side and to work it this way. Now don't be too aggressive with yourself here. More pain is not necessarily more beneficial. In fact, it can be counterproductive. So if this is really tender and sore, then be very gentle. Okay, so why are we stretching the top of your foot and massaging your big toe when the pain is actually in your heel? I'll give you a bit of background on plantar fasciitis that should explain why we're doing things in this way. Of course, most conventional treatments for plantar fasciitis rely on drugs or immobilizing your feet in rigid orthotics and stretching the bottom of your foot, sometimes by wearing a splint boot overnight. But none of this actually addresses the root problem, which isn't that your foot is inflamed. See, plantar fasciitis used to be thought of as an inflammatory condition, and that's the itis in plantar fasciitis. It means inflammation. But a 2003 study by Dr. Harvey Lamont, where he surgically examined the heels of 50 patients, he found no evidence of inflammation, and what he did find was tissue necrosis. That means that the tissue is dying, and what causes tissue to die? A lack of blood supply. Okay, so how does the blood supply to the bottom of your foot get cut off? The answer lies in your shoes. Pretty much all of us grew up wearing shoes, and shoes have some pretty major flaws. The two big ones that contribute to plantar fasciitis are toe taper and toe spring. And toe taper means that the shoes tend to be narrower at the very front where your toes are. That pushes the big toe in, which stretches the muscles along the side of your foot. And toe spring is the lift at the front of your shoes that curls your big toe upward towards the sky. A lot of people's toes point upward toward the sky. Those muscles are too tight, and the muscles on the bottom of the foot are actually weak. Your feet should actually be flexible like the paw of a cat. There are 26 bones and 33 joints in your feet, and they are made to move. But unfortunately, because most of us grow up wearing rigid shoes and walking on flat, even surfaces, our feet become stiff and tight. Not only does that cut off the blood supply, which results in painful plantar fasciitis, but it also lessens the shock absorbing function of your arches, which translates into more impact and more abrasion traveling upward through your knees, hips, and low back. So tight feet are a problem not only for foot pain, but also for knee and hip and back pain. The exercises I've shown you here will help, but to take this further, here are 3 bonus tips for plantar fasciitis relief. The first is to transition to more barefoot style shoes with a wide toe box that allows them to move and spread as you walk. Ideally, shoes will also be what's called zero drop, which means there's no height difference between the heel and the ball of the shoe. Barefoot style footwear allows your toes to spread and your feet to move naturally, adapting to the terrain like they were originally meant to. Now, there are a lot of brands that offer barefoot style shoes, and I will link to some of my favorites in the description box below. The second tip is to buy a set of toe spacers like Correct Toes that you can wear to stretch the muscles in your feet. There are lots of other brands of toe spacers that are less expensive, but ultimately I've found that what you save in price, you sacrifice in quality. Correct Toes are the only ones that I found that can be worn while you're active. It's important to use toe spacers when you're up and actually walking around, because just passively stretching your feet while you sleep or while you watch TV won't translate to more foot mobility when you're up and moving. Wearing toe spacers in weight bearing builds not only flexibility, but also strength. Now, the Correct Toes people say you can wear them inside wider toe box shoes, but I have not personally found this to be comfortable, even in my widest and most open shoes. I have been able to wear them with open-toed sandals, however. Again, you can find a link to purchase a set of Correct Toes in the description box below. And finally, the third tip for healing your plantar fascia is to apply heat to the inside of your foot toward the back. This is the area where the arteries supplying the bottom of your foot run, and heat relaxes the muscles and increases blood supply, which is exactly what necrotic tissue needs to heal. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video update, and leave me a comment below to let me know what you found most useful. Then head on over to watch the videos that are linked on your screen for more great tips on keeping yourself healthy and pain-free.